A thread by Carlos Osuita. First, Donald Trump tweets, radical left Governor Jay Inslee and the mayor of Seattle are being taunted and played at a level that our great country has never seen before. Take back your city now. If you don't do it, I will. This is not a game. These ugly anarchists must be stopped immediately. Move fast. Carlos responds, just to remind everyone, when Donald Trump says I will blank, that means he's already done it. The Democrats want some kind of massacre that they can blame on Trump. By operating clandestinely, Trump accomplishes several things. He avoids the trap. He forces Democrat governors and mayors to take the blame, since they can never admit that the feds intervened. He saves face for Democratic governors and mayors, who, after all, he needs to work with. Blame depends on your political ideology. No matter what our elected imbeciles say, they know that this is a catastrophe for their party. Bernie Sanders opposes defunding the cops. KFI AM 640 Los Angeles is getting calloused lips from kissing so much leftist butt. However, they have no idea what's actually being said in the interviews. Today, they reported on artists painting all the plywood boards nailed over every store and business window. Isn't it wonderful that the artists are beautifying the city? Well, the artists were afraid. They had a plaintive sound in their voice. They all knew that this whole thing has backfired hugely. The plywood looks so apocalyptic, so we're painting it because we're not about apocalypse. We just want change. Too late, baby. Wait, come back, give us another chance. We'll never do this again. Sorry. The wealthy are leaving the sinking ships of blue states, and the Democrats know this. People think Black Lives Matter knows what it's doing. Nope. They're drunk with power. Their butts are calloused from all the kissing. And yet nobody important is kissing in a meaningful way. Sure, people are being fired and canceled, but this is just a brief storm of madness. It's not permanent. NASCAR bans the Confederate battle flag. How will NASCAR survive without an audience? Actions have consequences. We haven't yet seen the consequences, but they're coming. How many times have you heard someone say this? I never thought it would happen to me. Well, I expected it to happen to me. Easily the worst mistake I ever made was falling in what I thought was love with a gorgeous hippie, a dancer. She looked exactly like a busty Audrey Hepburn with bright blue eyes and frizzy blonde hair. Total psycho, a sadist on a level that I'd never before experienced. But before she did her bait and switch, she said the stupidest thing I'd ever heard. Bad things only happen to you if you expect them to happen. I don't even lock my doors at night. Why is it so important for people to tell you that? Truman Capote wrote the book In Cold Blood about the Clutter family murders in Holcomb, Kansas. November 15th, 1959. Fashion photographer Richard Avedon did glamour shots of the two totally unrepentant men who murdered Herb Clutter, his wife Bonnie, and their teenage children Nancy and Kenyon. They were murdered with a shotgun and a Bowie knife. The murderers had been told that Herb Clutter always had $10,000 in cash at home, so they drove 400 miles and walked right in at around 2 a.m. When they found no money, they killed everyone, which they had planned to do from the outset. One of the cops told Capote, around here, nobody even locks their doors at night. Why not? Do they see it as weakness? As a betrayal of some invisible, hovering judge? Is it racist? Here's another theory of life that I hate. We all live several lifetimes, and before each we choose all the bad things that happen to us. From a menu. There are no victims, only volunteers. Really? What does an infant learn from a life ended by murder when he or she is 6 weeks old? People need to use the brains God gave them. Bad things happen to good people because that's life. I sure as hell didn't choose my life. But Robert Louis Stevenson said, life is not a matter of holding good cards, but of playing a poor hand well. Be smart, be careful, and pray for the strength to get through rough spots. You learn not from the calamity, but from how you deal with it. God doesn't put a crosshair on your forehead, and you don't volunteer for death and disaster. You abide, and you endure, and you trust the trump.